Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now it's time for your weekend tech tip, brought to you by Chevy Silverado.
Thank you, Chevy Silverado, for sponsoring our tech tips. We've got Mike from Salem. He's got a question for Cody. Mike, what's going on quickly?
If Cody could rank, I know you guys are talking about a specific technique today, but if Cody could rank his best to worst, like top 5 effective ways to catch steelhead, factoring out good fishermen, good water conditions. Thank you.
Okay. Rank a couple of ways that you would recommend targeting steelhead. We're talking about this year. Let's talk different. Couple of ways that you would rank different techniques for, average anglers on good conditions.
So my favorite ways?
Yeah.
Boy, I've always said it's the next one.
Okay.
And so I'd love watching a bobber drain and reeling down, coming tight.
Sure.
First thing you see is that fish start barreling up, and then comes skyrocketing out.
That's extremely addictive. We know that. Yeah.
Pulling plugs, obviously that's what I do all winter long for 4 months. Seeing that rod wiggle and then just hammer down and fish cartwheeling, that's great.
Sure.
You had Herzog in here, swinging a spoon. I don't get a chance to do that very often, but man, that swing and then in your hand, that pull, that's pretty sweet too.
The hammer.
Yeah, it's pretty special, but all these techniques, it doesn't matter what my favorite is.
Yeah.
It's what are the fish going to bite today based upon conditions. And that's the hardest part, is figuring out, do they want bobbers today, beads, they want spoons, they want spinners, they want plugs, they want bait.
Yeah.
That's what we like is irrelevant.
Sure.
We're out there to catch fish and have a good time. So no matter what I want to do, we'll see what the fish want today.
Yeah, that's great advice too, because I always find myself, I get stuck like everybody, okay? I love bobber and bead fishing because it's brain dead. It's very simple. In the end, it's pretty darn simple. It's all about presentation, understanding where to cast it. There's all kinds of different nuances when you're talking about a bobber and bead, no question. But in the end, out of all the techniques that we use, and there's countless of them these days, from drift fishing to throwing spoons, you really need to just pick what is going to be most effective for that day. So that's a great answer for that question. Okay, so you got 3.0s here. We've talked about 3.5s. When do you make that conversion? Before we talk about hooks, because obviously the 3.0s, primarily when Buzz was putting these together, it was more for trout rather than, 10, 12, 15, 20-pound steelhead, although we've learned that these smaller baits, all the way up to 40-pound Chinook, believe it or not, love these little baits, okay? The hooks aren't going to take it.
Well, so the marlin guys, their favorite saying is elephants eat peanuts.
Okay.
So the guys that target 1,000-pound marlin, they're running small lures for them because they'll eat them when they're being a little bit finicky.
I get it,
So size doesn't matter,
right?
But a surprise,
right? At least for fishing.
At least, well, okay, let's not go down that road. All right, so colors. We talked about presentation. So anytime I do any seminar, we're talking about what are the most important ways to catch fish. Number 1 is presentation. Number 2 is, number 1 is location. Number 2 is presentation. Number 3 is color and scent. So we talked about where to fish in high water, low clear water, where in a hole to target them, presentation, how I'm putting my plugs out, how far out they are, plugs left, right, bait down the middle.
Sure.
Number 3, now we can start focusing in on color and scent.
Okay.
Until you get 1 and 2 figured out, 3 is irrelevant. I know that it's fun to play with our toys.
Sure.
And I got all the right colors and customs and whatnot, but until you get 1 and 2 figured out, doesn't matter.
Sure, makes sense.
So it came down to last year, I was actually running all 3 rods with this color right here.
Really?
It's the most consistent
A little
one.
speckle blue pirate?
Exactly, that's what this is. It's called Madman. It's a blue pirate, and you can see right there, but it's a gold body, gold base with silver fleck. And that's what that one is, and I was running it on every single rod. I wasn't even running coon shrimp.
Interesting.
And it drives me crazy because I love to fish different colors. We got Takedown and Punch Card and Streetwalker, but Dr. Death is probably one of the best ones out there.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, last year, that's the one that they wanted. And like I mentioned earlier, don't argue with the fish.
Sure. Yeah.
So running that, these colors, you really probably only need about 5 or 6 different colors. Every single river system has their own favorite. At the coast, I like a lot of black and silver.
Yeah.
Up here in our tributaries at Clack and Sandy and some of the other upriver tributaries, South Columbia, it's more pinks and purples, your Misty Rivers, like I mentioned, Streetwalker, Dr. Death, Madman, Punch Card, Takedown. Those seem to be your most consistent ones.
Sure.
You can go crazy, and I got a box of about 150 of them.
Right.
But I end up only running a few, including just this one on all 3 rods.
Which is interesting by itself.
So that was really, it's always fun to try and figure that out each and every year. So once we get color figured out, now it's time to move on to scent. Shrimp scent, I run coon shrimp. shrimp scent from ProCure, either the spray or I really like this gel because it's not the heavy super gel,
right,
and it's not just the oil. This stuff will stick on your lure through 2, 3, 4 holes, but then you need this soap at the end of the day to clean it off. And I don't know what it is about that soap. I've tried Joy, I've tried all sorts of other soaps, but this foaming soap cleans this gel off perfectly.
I think Steve kind of put that.
What a surprise, they figured it out, right?
Yeah.
So running shrimp scent, I really like this on the plugs. You just put it just a little bit of dab on top of the head, and I use the dispenser, so I just put it on top, and I use the white dispenser to just push along the back. Don't put it up here on the bill. Don't put it on the belly because then the hooks will get stuck to it. Just a little bit on top between the eyes, put it up and down, and then that's good enough.
Makes sense. It won't interfere with the action of the plug.
Yep,
now,
exactly.
We talked briefly about swapping those hooks out, all right? So there are any number of hooks, and it's hard to go wrong with owners. There's no question. That is an owner, correct?
Yep.
What size do you like to put on these 3.0s, and why the 2X?
So first and foremost, don't screw up what Buzz did. He spent years developing this. So the most important thing you can do, no matter what hook you use, is see how the hooks lay. I got the little deal there. Yep, there we go. Move all the stuff out of the way so you guys can see this. This belly hook, thank you very much, appreciate that. These 2 points of the hook have to line up right there.
On either side.
On either side. You do not want one of these points hitting the belly and scraping up. If you see the wear marks on this lure, you can actually see where the hook points are on either side wearing on it. That's where you want that belly hook set up. On the back hook, you want it to be what we call rudder up. So I'll turn sideways a little bit so you can see it. I'm trying to look at my camera and do it at the same time.
So you got the middle one that wants to stick straight up.
Yep, you want this middle point sticking straight up, and that does act like a rudder. That's the way Buzz designed these. And what that will do is help keep this lure tracking properly. If you don't have these hooks where this one's in the belly and this rudder's up, it doesn't matter what hook you run, it will not run straight.
That is the best advice I've heard so far this morning on making sure you don't screw it up from the beginning, because it's easy for us to do. I'm down to 20 seconds, Cody. I have to ask. Viewers are going to be out there asking if they can get with you. Do you have room for folks, say, in January and February?
Yep, best way to get in touch with me is through the website. You can email me through the website. But winter steelhead, it's always based upon water levels, but let's go.
I love it.
Thanks, sir.
Super glad to finally see you again. And let's hope we can get you in here again. It's not easy. He doesn't live close to town, okay? But we'll be back to wrap things up in just a minute. I'm not letting him off the hook yet. We'll be right back.